I really try to not take myself too seriously because I personally, like, I wouldn't say hate, but I really dislike when I see an artist and then I go to check out their social media and it looks so polished to the
Mhm.
point where I'm like, what are you really? Like, whenever it feels like it's like a character and not a person, every single artist that I've ever fallen in love with, I fell in love because I felt personally connected.
Welcome back to Love's Music. Today I have the lovely and talented Lina Cooper. We talk about balancing music and business. We talk about the wild backstory behind her song Daddy Issues and all the other upcoming projects she has on schedule. If you want to check out some of Lina Cooper's music, I'll be adding a couple of her songs to the Love's Music playlist. Link is available in the show description. And with no further ado, up next we have, all the way from Los Angeles, Lina Cooper. All right, welcome to Love's Music. Lina, thank you so much for spending time with me here today. It means the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So where to start? The new single, like, comment, subscribe, love it. Like it, you know. I certainly really like it. I actually played it this weekend. Has a nice, just dingy, almost like a retro 80s feel. Tell me what you're doing with that with the new first single.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for the review. Always warms my heart, never gets old.
Yeah.
What we were doing, and we is me, my producer Leto, and then my co-writer and my boyfriend Ink XNK, also known as Rian Cult. We all wrote the song together. We worked on it together, you know, like all the parts, the production, the writing, and we were going for this kind of like retro modern combination of like it sounds like the music that you loved from, you know, like early 2000s, kind of like Green Day, My Chemical Romance, you know, or maybe like Avril Lavigne or Pink or something like this, but with a little bit of a modern twist to it. So sonically, you described it very well. I'd say this is what we were going for. Yes.
Yeah, it was like, I remember something I really liked about it is that you're not afraid to let the vocals breathe a little bit. In terms of instrumentation, it's a little bit sparse, but it's like purposely sparse. Like it almost
Mhm.
sounds like you're listening to it on like on headphones, and then you bring in like the full arrangement. You're doing things in like the bridge, like the chorus tags that feel like it kind of catches you off guard, but in like the best ways. So
Yep.
it's a really dynamic song. Like, comment, subscribe. Certainly go check it out. In conjunction to the single, you have such a keen eye for branding. You can't spend more than 10 minutes in your content, in your music without falling in love with you. I mean, it's
Thank
funny.
you.
Yeah, there's like a sense of humor, but it's also like there's some girl power mixed in. There's some vulnerability, but you also like don't take yourself too seriously. It's so endearing. I use the phrase, "You remind me of every girl I ever met," but you're also like somebody I've never met. You know what I mean? Like you're so uniquely different, but there's something that resonates to every female. I relate to you from all the way across the country.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's definitely what I'm going for with, you know, I really try to not take myself too seriously. And I love like showing humor and being funny on social media because I personally like, I wouldn't say hate, but I really dislike when I, you know, like see an artist and then I go to check out their social media and it looks so polished to the point
Mhm.
where I'm like, what are you really? Like whenever it feels like it's like a character and not a person. And I like every single artist that I've ever fallen in love with. And I also have like a wall of all of, you know, posters of all of my favorite artists, literally right here. Every single one of them, I fell in love because I felt personally connected. You know, like Taylor Swift and Lorde and Maggie Rogers and Phoebe Bridgers, like somehow it felt like through their music and through their interviews and through their branding, I'm like, oh, it's like my best friend. I know exactly what they're talking about. They're just talking about their life. You know, if they're being funny on social media or on stage or in their interviews, like that always makes me feel like I know them better. And I always wanted to be the same kind of artist.
Yeah. Like they're like, even with some of the newer stuff, Daddy Issues, this song, it feels like you're gearing up for the next project. What do
Yes.
you feel is like the overarching theme of the next project? Because there is like a cohesiveness to the most recent songs.
So there actually is a very, very clear kind of like message theme of this next project. We actually started writing the project based on the topic. You know, we just had the idea of like what it's going to be. And then we were like, okay, let's base all of our songs around this topic, which we've never done before. It's always like, oh, let's see what the common thread between all these songs is, you know. But the theme is social media and kind of like art in 21st century and how it all changed with the internet and and technology. So this first song, Like, Comment, Subscribe, was kind of about specifically the music industry and how, you know, I don't want to say it's so hard, but it is hard to be an artist nowadays compared to, I feel like, the 90s, right? Whenever what mattered was, you know, if you're a cool person and you're talented and you're like hardworking, like you didn't have to, you know, work another full-time job creating content. That was not a thing. But and then a few of other songs that are on the album. There's going to be 7. So it's like a long EP, you know? And other songs there's a song about online dating and how the romance and like the limerence was kind of lost in a lot of cases because of online dating. How, you know, like this human aspect was like taken out of you know, like relationship stories. Another song is about jealousy, where, you know, you're scrolling and you're seeing how well people are doing and how everyone has a perfect life, and you're just not satisfied with your life, but you see this perfect picture and it makes you feel just awful about yourself.
Right.
And but yeah, and many more.
I mean, people will certainly resonate with that theme. It's almost like you're using, like, today you use fame to like reverse engineer the music in like your music career. Like you have to get famous to do the music, whereas before fame was just a byproduct of being exceptional at something. If you were an amazing singer, you had a music career. If you were an amazing guitarist, you were in a cool band. You know, like you know. Now it's like you're it's like brand first, followers first. Oh yeah, by the way, I do music. You know?
Yes, 100%. And that could be good, because I definitely, you know, there are some artists that got a chance to, you know, have a music career because they had, you know, happened to go viral or whatever. And that's amazing. But most of the time, that's not the case.
Right.
Most of the time, no.
It is. It's like now as an artist, it's like if you're an artist, you have to be a content creator. You know, like comedian, singer, rapper, whatever. It's like a whole arm of your career has to be in creating content, which could be cool, but also could be very daunting, especially if you're like a more introverted person. So it's like the barrier to entry now is like 20,000 likes and like posting every day. You know, like I just want to play the violin, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to talk about the last project. So I actually spent some time with that, No Filter. Something that's really cool about No Filter, and this is the way I perceived it. I almost felt like that you were doing like kind of like a pop punk, but also almost there's like a musical theater element to it. The songs are like so dramatic, you know? Like I don't know where like the character stops and Lina starts, you know? So like there's this juxtaposition where you're like so over the top on some songs. So you listen to a song like Don't Let Me Fall, you know, which is so like I feel like it could be on like a Broadway stage, you know? You know? It's like
that's funny, because you're not the first one to say that.
Yeah. So it's like you listen to it almost like a concept album. It's the difference between, I'm going to make a comparison for you. It's the difference between, you know, the Beyonce album, the self-titled album, it's like all black with the pink letters on the front. Like that feels like a Beyonce album. Then Lemonade is also a Beyonce album, but it feels like there's a character, you know? Like this No Filter feels a little bit like Lina's Lemonade. You know what I mean? Like you actually like really dive into this character who's a little bit over the top, like an offshoot of reality. Am I way off in feeling this way?
First of all, can I just say that Lemonade is my favorite Beyonce album? So the fact that you said that, I'm like, oh my God. That's my favorite Beyonce album of all time.
Yeah, fantastic.
I definitely was going, basically whenever we were writing it, why it's called No Filter, it's because I was like, any thought that I have, even when I catch myself thinking, ooh, that's too much, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to be like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter if it sounds crazy. It doesn't matter if it sounds over the top. I'm just going to say it because it came to my head and I felt it in that little second, and I'm just going to say it. So in a way, like I'm saying a lot of things on that record where I'm like, I don't like deeply feel this way, but it was a feeling in the moment. And I just decided to not filter anything. There's a song, You're Fucking Kids, on that EP where, like the punchline of the whole song is, at this point, I want to have your fucking kids. The first time I played it for my producer, he was like, are you really going to say that? Like, you're really going to say that? And I was like, oh, I feel like it's funny. I feel like, at some point, everyone feels this way in a joking way. You see someone just like that you've like fallen in love with so much, and you're like, oh my God, like I want this person's kids, like right now, And same as with like, don't let me fall in love. That one was just kind of like, the feeling that you get whenever, you're falling for someone who will not fall back in love with you. And you're like, God, please, like, just stop being so nice. Stop, like, opening doors and checking in with me because I'm falling in love with you more and more. The more you do all these nice things, stop, please. And I don't know where the theater aspect comes from, to be honest, but you're not the first person to say that. So I'm like, I don't know how it happened. I'm not even, like, I've never been a theater kid. I have a few musicals that I like, but I was never like a theater fan. So it's so interesting that so many people are saying this. And I'm like, I don't know where it's coming from.
I would guess there's a richness in your voice that you don't expect in this genre. It's like a smooth, like velvety, like lower tone. And so you're expecting like the more like Avril Lavigne on these kinds of like on these kinds of songs, and then you come on and it's more Sarah Bareilles than Avril, So maybe that's where I'm drawing the connection from. But it's meant to be a compliment. I mean, to be able to merge, like it's the same way that like Panic at the Disco, it almost sounds like their songs almost they have like a kind of like a Broadway feel to them.
Oh,
like I don't know what it is in there, but I was like, I feel like this could be on. And then I think Brandon Urie was actually on Broadway before, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Totally makes sense with them.
Yeah, I mean, I love the project though, and the diversity too, because even like the more acoustic songs on that project, you're still very true to your like angsty, like I'm here, what are you gonna do about it attitude, I like it. Yeah, like
thank you.
It's in your face, but it's not abrasive. It does kind of wake you up a little bit, like you do swear on your albums, and it almost reads as like comedic a little bit, like it's not offensive. It's like, I get it,
It is very comedical. And I try to stay this way, like even in music, besides like social media and branding and everything. And I'm like, I just like love being funny. I love making people smile.
It is. I think that's what draws me to your content too. Because like you have like these deep songs. You've clearly been through some things. Then you go to your page and it's like song, music, song, funny video, and like a mask. I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, that's like a real girl, Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I try.
Mm-hmm. So I have to ask a question. You have another song. I think it's called Daddy Issues. What's the story? But is this the story that correlates with the bad roommate and the dead cat?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I've been that story for us.
I've told the story a million times, and I will tell it a million more times because the world needs to know.
Let's go.
I had a roommate who was also a guitarist in my band, and we were friends for a little while, and at some point things just started going wrong, and it started with her pretty much killing mine and my boyfriend's cat. By killing, I mean we were away and we let her like watch the cat, or asked her to watch the cat. And while we were away, she let the cat escape. Didn't properly like look for her or anything, but then she found her, and then she let her bleed out under my bed for 3 days before she took her to the vet. And on like day 3, she would call us and be like, hey, so the cat's not moving. Should I like do something about it? And we're like, oh my God, absolutely, you should take her to the vet like right this second.
Yeah.
And then like the moment she got to the vets, the cat died. And that was, thing number one, where should have been a red flag, where this person does not care if you live or die, not very important to them. After that, she's just done like so many things. Like she was hitting on every single taken man in our friend group, like with their girlfriends there. Doesn't matter, would just like mess up the whole dynamic in the group. After that, like she moved out and didn't pay us what she legally was supposed to pay, was like another month's rent, because she gave us less than 30-day notice that she was moving out. And then she, just like talked shit about all of us, even though we personally haven't actually done anything, was, bailing on a bunch of gigs, like super like last minute. And the final straw was that she started dating this man who was about 40 years older than her, who had a wife and a kid. And pretty much, like she started dating him, right? Married man with a kid who's 40 years older, claiming that, she's in love. And by the way, side note, he is extremely rich. And all of us were like, we wonder if this is why you potentially might be doing this.
Wow.
Would you really be in love?
What are your age gap? It could be you have to ask, right?
Because I'm like, I feel like if the situation was the same, the guy was 40 years older with a wife and a kid, and he was, janitor, you wouldn't feel the same way.
Sure.
No, no shade towards janitors.
Right.
But specifically with this girl, I was like,
shout out janitors.
Shout out janitors.
Yeah.
But with specifically this girl, she was getting like a new guitar, a new amp, a new pedal, and like new custom in-ears like every week whenever we were living together. And, the first thing that she would mention to like, actually my producer, Leto, who would like come and visit, the first thing that she tells him when he comes in, literally just like getting off a plane, he's like, oh, blah, blah, her name, how are you? And she's like, oh my God, I'm dating this rich guy. Like, it's great, So it's like the first thing that she mentions. And I decided to expose all of that in a song. That was a very, very long explanation. I'm sorry for going on a tangent, but I wrote a song about exposing all the things that she did to me and to that family. Now that man left his wife and kids for her. So it's been amazing to watch how now the world is actually seeing his face. I wish I could say her name, but I don't want her to get more attention than she already did. So yeah, that was the story.
What was her reaction when she heard the song? I mean, the song sounds pretty direct. It's all called Daddy Issues, by the way. Daddy Issues on, I think it's going to be on the next project. Right?
It might not be, just because it doesn't really fit like the social media story, but I'm also still thinking about it because it's literally like was written by the same people that the album was written by. Okay. It was a very unplanned release. Okay. Because I planned like 2 years ahead, to be honest. And this one I was just like, I need to release it right now. Like, I'm not going to wait. Just gonna drop it.
So scratch that. Might not be on the next project. But go download the single though.
Yes. Yes.
So what was her reaction when she heard the song?
She another thing that I did is I dressed up as her for the cover art and the music video. And she has a very distinctive like haircut and style. So whenever I posted it, all of our common friends were like, oh my God, that looks exactly like her. That is like undeniably like, if you know that person, you know who it's about. But if you don't know them, obviously, like it doesn't really matter. And she found out and she posted about it on her story, calling me the fat version of herself. Being like, oh, that's cute. That's cute that you're trying to, do this. And what's funny is that she thinks to this day, apparently, that all of this is just because she moved out without paying.
No.
And
there's a dead animal. There's
so much.
Yeah.
There's so much more than just this one thing. It's like everything that was the, one of the last straws. But before that, there's like 2 years worth of material of things that you did that led up to this final straw.
Right. She's
But
lucky to write a whole album.
yeah, I mean, I might, there's so much
Mhm.
that I might.
Well, it sounds like she's a fellow musician, though. Are you worried about her writing a song about you?
She can't write. I'm not worried.
Good. Well, good. Well, the best place for her is in your rear view. So I'm glad she's out of your life.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you memorialized her in a song. So
Yes.
it's not a contest, but it feels like you won.
Yes. I'm just going to say yes.
Right. All right. So take me back to the early days, right? We know the projects that you're working on now. When you first heard music, right, you realized you weren't a passive listener. You realized you had this gift that was in you. What is your earliest memory of music?
Oh, that's such a great question. My earliest memory of like music in general is honestly probably my dad singing me to sleep whenever I was like a little kid, and I loved it. I remember I was annoying him, being like, Dad, like sing more songs, like, and he would, just like hold me like this and sing to me. And what's funny is my mom wasn't like, she went to a music school, like she's not a musician, but whenever she was a kid, like she learned how to play piano and she actually has the ear. But for some reason, I specifically liked the timbre of my dad's voice, and I made him sing to me all the time when I was going to bed. So that's like the earliest, probably I was like 2-3 years old is when.
Was he a
like,
musician, or does he just sang good,
No.
like recreationally?
What's funny is like I don't think he actually was even singing on pitch. It's just the timbre of his voice was so soft and so like comforting that I just really enjoyed it. It's like a lot of times people say like, oh, Bob Dylan can't sing. It's the timbre of his voice that I feel like, obviously his lyric writing is insane
so much more
too.
about like the tone of his voice, like
Yes.
what he's singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, it could be a correlation because it is. I mean, there's a comfort there. There's a familiarity. It's your dad,
Yeah.
You close with your folks?
I would say it comes in waves, because we also like I'm alone here. I have no family in the United States, so I mean, my friends are my family, so that would be a lie. But sometimes we just can't even speak for a long time because I might be like working and super busy, and like the time zones are also different, so it's like difficult to navigate that. But sometimes we're on a roll and we speak like every day, and sometimes we don't speak for weeks, so it's like just difficult to control that sometimes.
So all right. So getting back to your earlier days, when you first started listening to music, like who were the first artists that really like grabbed your attention?
Well, the very first artist I remember like really liking was because of my grandfather. He had, and this is like Ukraine in like early 2000s. He had a collection of cassettes because that's what
Dating ourselves.
they were listening to back then. And there's this, Swedish band ABBA, Dancing Queen, like all of them. Right. I fell in love with them. They were so like, I just loved their songs, and I bought, I was listening to my grandfather's cassettes, and then I bought my own CDs because I had a little boombox in my room that I was like playing CDs through, and I got like, like Golden Hit album by ABBA and was just like listening to it for like days on end. And I remember, I feel like this was my very first artist band that I was like obsessed with. I knew all of their names, and they are not easy names. I forgot them by now, but I think like it's like Bjorn Ulvaeus, because they're all Swedish.
Long Swedish names, yeah.
Yeah, like Anna Frida was another one, and then the other two I can't remember.
How old were you when you actually started recording? What came first? Were you like writing songs? Did you record early? Were you just kind of like a passive fan? Like, how did you like your entrance into being a musician?
I did actually record pretty early. I started writing around maybe like 9-ish years old, just because I was just watching MTV all day long and remember liking those songs and then being like, wait, why don't I just try to write a song? Like it was just a thought where I'm like, oh, I should write a song. And then I sat down and I wrote a song. And now looking back, obviously it was really bad, But in the moment, I was like, oh, that's cool. I liked writing the song.
Right.
And then we had a piano in our house because, my mom bought it trying to kind of like go back to her music school days. And I just, came up to the piano and I was like, boom, boom, boom. That's the melody. That's the melody. It was not a good melody, but I was like, it's a melody and this is going to be the melody of this song. And I spent about 2 months saving up my lunch money because, my parents would give me like whatever amount of money daily, and I would not eat lunch. I would put them away, and I saved up enough money in a couple months to go to a studio. And in Ukraine, back then it was like, I'm not kidding, like one session with a full song would be like $20. So I saved up all this money, and then I went to the studio and, just like played my little melody on the piano and recorded my vocals on top of it. And then the guy who was like engineering the session also built a little arrangement around that song. And then that was like my first song. My very first song actually exists as a recording, and it's really bad.
Really? Do you remember what it was called?
It was, first of all, it was in Russian.
Okay.
And the name of the song was "My Heart Hurts."
Oh.
Yeah. As a 9 or 10-year-old, my heart hurts.
Oh, you felt feelings deeply, even as a 4th or 5th grader.
I did.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So, but you knew that you liked doing music. I mean, there's a weird thing in us as musicians. I don't watch an NFL game and be like, oh, I can do that. But like, I'll watch a music video and be like, I'm gonna make one of those. That's wild to me. Like I feel like it's like it's something weird in us, and people that don't do music like don't get it. So back then when you were writing music, like who were you? You were listening to obviously ABBA was like an early influence, but like who were you listening to kind of like mold your sound? Like who were the muses you were calling on to kind of like help you create when you were young Lina, 5th, 6th, 7th grade as you're recording songs?
Honestly, there were so many. I remember my first favorite pop star that I was like obsessed with, had all the CDs, that I could get my hands on and everything. It was actually Katy Perry with her, like One of the Boys, like I Kissed a Girl, Hot and Cold, like all of these songs. And then Teenage Dream with like all the big songs as well. Like, I loved those 2 records. I was obsessed with her. Like, she was, because, whenever she was starting out, she was like pop rock. She wasn't like fully just pop. And I loved that about her. I also used to really like Avril Lavigne. I loved Pink. I loved Beyonce and Rihanna, just like all this pop music. But at the same time, Ukraine and I feel like Eastern European countries in general are very big on rock music. So like, like let's say a band like Skillet could actually come to Ukraine and like sell out like a theater, So I actually saw them in Kiev. So yeah. But someone like, for example, like actually back in the day, someone like Taylor Swift probably wouldn't come to Ukraine because she like country music or like pop country music was not really popular. So, I was listening to a lot of rock music as well, and older rock music too. Like I used to be a huge fan of like AC/DC. I loved Queen. I loved the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. So like all of that kind of music I really, really liked at the same time as pop music.
Okay. I mean, there's a pretty significant gap between the period that we're talking about, and then I think your content or the most recent music of yours starts around like 23, 24, I believe. So, I mean, that's a pretty sizable gap. Were you always doing music? Did you have a hiatus?
If you mean my Instagram, I just wiped everything that I was doing kind of like before my very dramatic comeback with daddy issues. Because I wanted, because I am dramatic. So that's why I kind of decided to like wipe everything, and just start new. But I've been like consistently releasing music probably since like 2020, maybe 2021 consistently. Because I've had like one-off little things in like 2019. Like I just dropped a little song and then 1 or 2 songs in 2020. But then since 2021, it's been like pretty consistently.
Okay. Are you getting a lot of opportunities to perform? Or are you just kind of all studio now?
I've been performing around LA quite a lot. Like actually last year, and I've performed in Nashville, in Boston, in New York. So I had like little one-off shows in other cities as well. But this year it's been pretty much like California. I did like Los Angeles, Anaheim. I might do like San Diego a little later this year, but so far it's been pretty like West Coasty this year.
Okay. Give me a story from one of your shows where you feel you did exceptionally well. Like you finished your set and you're like, I smashed that one.
I honestly think it might be my last show. It might be my last show or the show before. Like I've been doing this showcase. We found new music in Los Angeles. Shout out to Grant Owens. If you're seeing this, is an amazing guy who's been, booking the show for years now. And We Found New Music is a free showcase, which is what I love because in Los Angeles, unfortunately, it's pay to play most of the time. Like 95% of the time, the artist pays the venue and then gets $0 back.
Wow.
When Grant Owens and We Found New Music actually give a platform for artists like me to just, you can play a free show, it's free entry, and you get to sell your own merch and keep 100% of your merch sales. So you actually end up making money, which is great. So all of these shows, maybe the past 3 shows that I've done with them, have been freaking incredible. Like the crowd was just so fun every single time. And I get to like perform a new song every time. And this last time that I played Daddy Issues, which was new at the time. It was like March, I think. And I did this thing where I dress up as that girl on stage specifically for that song. And it was so fun. I think I have a video of that like on my Instagram where I'm like wearing the wig and the glasses and everything. And the crowd was just amazing that night. They were so engaging. They were singing along and dancing along. And like, every time I would interact with them, they would just like give it right back to me. It felt so amazing.
Oh, that's the best feeling, especially with a new song too. What's it like when you share a new song with either from stage or in the studio? Like what's it like? Just because I always get a different answer when I ask that.
What's it like sharing a story off stage? I would say it's my favorite part. Like
Sharing a new song, you mean?
Sharing a new song. Yeah, sharing a new song and seeing how people react. Like it's just like sharing a little part of yourself, and being sincere and having people receive it. Like, I don't think I've had an experience where it was a brand new song for like a crowd that I've played for that just didn't go well. I've had weird corporate events where I just was not the right artist to be booked for that. And I was like, oh my God, like, okay, I should just shut up and not say anything. But regular shows where you actually get to have fun and open up, like every time it just feels so fresh and you feel so connected with the audience and it feels amazing.
Yeah, it's weird. Philadelphia is a little bit territorial, and people are very like loyal to like their artist. So if you were to play like a showcase, it's like you sometimes play these rooms. I call them hostile rooms, but you'll have like, all right, they book 10 acts, and then the other 9 acts, all their people are there, and they only like really engage with their guy. So 90% of the room is they're just sitting there like arms folded, like waiting for their person to go on, And you have that like weird struggle of trying to like win them over. But I mean, I think it's really cool that you're playing these rooms that are receptive to new music. You're getting feedback. You're getting feedback that you can take back to the studio when you're making things, and you're seeing what works. So I'm so happy that you have that experience. That's fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So, as an artist, what is the best compliment that somebody has ever paid you?
I think I am probably happiest whenever someone says that they personally connected to a specific song for whatever reason. Like I've had conversations with like a few fans that would, like show up to the show or something, or like DM me on Instagram and just tell me why they connected with this specific song and why they liked it and like just something very unique and special that's not like, oh, you have a great voice. oh, like you can really sing or play guitar or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, well that's literally, I don't know, a billion people out there.
Right.
But whenever it's something really special and emotional, that's when I feel happiest.
And what group do you think resonates with your music the most?
I would say, well, young adults for sure. And I've always struggled with like defining what gender listens to my music more, because I've had both men and women, have the same reaction to my
Mhm.
songs, and my first initial reaction is to say, oh, girls, but it hasn't been all girls. Like I've had, boys and men like message me or come to my shows and like be fans and support me and relate to my music. So I would just say, like, if I had to elaborate on the type, I would just say it's, like dramatic but friendly, like emotional, maybe a little bit messy, like hardworking, dreamers,
Mm,
but I
I like that.
wouldn't specify like the
Yeah.
location or the gender or even like age too. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, as an older guy with very little in common with you outside of music, I mean, your music landed with me pretty effectively. You know,
Well, that's awesome to hear. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, really, yeah. Like, I mean, obviously we had a little bit of a history because we spoke and I knew we were gonna do a show together. So I listened a little bit more intently. But when I actually got a chance to like listen passively, like it felt like stuff I would have on my playlist.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Absolutely. No, thank you. What advice would you give to a young girl in a similar position as you, fifth, sixth, seventh grade? Maybe that's a little young. 11th or 12th grade. Hey, I want to do what you want to do. I want to go to different cities. I want to get my message out there. I want to tell my story. What advice would you have for that young lady?
I would probably say just go for it and keep dreaming and keep working. Like don't think that something is impossible, but also don't really I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't wait and um I wouldn't wait around for things to happen. If you really want something, I would start like on that very day and just be like, okay, from today on until whenever I get to where I want to get, I'm just going after what I want.
Reminds me of this Ashley Stahl quote. You gain less from analysis than you do from action. Indecision is death. Start. You can always course correct.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great quote. Yeah.
When I see the way you move, social media, the way you write songs, like that like the attitude, the swag, there's a part of me with that it looks and it almost seems effortless. What do you think is the hardest thing about what you do? Like, what gives you the most difficulty?
I feel like there are a lot of like there's a hardest part in everything, like the hardest part of the show aspect, the hardest part of like the writing or the recording. Uh, and but overall, like to me personally, the hardest part is this like branding and marketing because I'm like it takes so much time. I remember watching this like Maggie Rogers interview one day, and she was like, I wanted to be a musician full time, and once I got to the level where I can be a musician full time, she said I only get to write like 2 weeks out of the year. 2 weeks out of the year, I'm like writing, and
She's
then
like
the
a great
rest.
writer.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she's incredible. And she
Yeah.
was like, but the rest of the year, I'm promoting, I'm touring, I'm playing shows, I'm going on podcasts and interviews and just like recording the album, mixing the album. But only 2 weeks out of like the whole year is when I write. And I was
Wow.
like, oh my God. I feel like I'm very much in the same boat right now, even though I'm obviously not on Maggie Rogers level. But,
I get what you mean though.
I'm like, whenever, like, I haven't sat down to write a song. Like I always write down little ideas because like songs come in. I'm like, oop, save that for later. A little melody. I'm like, oop, also like sing it, save it for later. They always come and go. But to like, just sit down to write a song. I had 30 minutes, maybe like 4 days ago, where I started writing a song and I wrote a chorus. Then I was like, oh, actually gotta go and like film that little TikTok that I need to do. But yeah, I think like a month ago was the last time that I wrote the song, and that's difficult because I'm like, I don't get to actually do my favorite part of music as much. I get to, do, and like, even this is actually fun because I get to talk, but most of the time it's like, oh, you gotta take all the equipment and go outside and film the TikTok and then spend 2 hours editing it and then like all of that stuff. And it's just like, oh my God, it takes so much time.
Yeah. I mean, stop feeling like an artist, you know? Like, I'm like, it's because you really are. You're an entrepreneur. You're starting a small business. It's your
Yeah.
business, but I mean, that's what it feels like. And you're like, can I just do art? Can we get back to the art after I'm
Yes.
done? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what does a dark day look like for you? You know, when you really feel like you're not having it. Like, give me an example of something that you may struggle with periodically, or maybe one time that you really struggled with something and you had to pull yourself out.
Well, it's definitely, I would say numbers overall are very difficult to process because you always want to compare yourself to someone up there and you don't know how they got to where they got. You don't know, if there's someone helping them or if like it was just luck or whatever it is. So, comparing yourself, especially now that we have access to, like, oh, how many monthly listeners you have, oh, how many likes on a post you have, how many followers you have, you can compare yourself to anybody. And like, that's not a healthy thing to do. That
No.
definitely is a thing that whenever I start doing it, it upsets me. But another overall thing is like having expectations with timelines, because I remember being like, 12 years old and I still have that letter somewhere. And I was like writing a letter to like 20-year-old me. And I'm like, I hope you're worldwide known pop star. And I'm like, I thought I was going to be Katy Perry by the age of 20.
Right.
Even Katy Perry became Katy Perry by like age 27. Like that's, I think, around the time when like I Kissed a Girl came out. And I was like, it is difficult to look back at those like expectations that you had as a little kid and being like, I think I'm letting her down a little bit because she thought we were going to have all of this by, like before you graduate college. And then it doesn't happen on the same timeline as you thought.
So when you feel this, I guess either the comparison trap or you feel maybe like a little bit entitled, like, why isn't it that happened to me? What are some of the truths that you tell yourself to kind of like snap yourself back on? Because your focus is like laser, So there has to be something you're telling yourself so you can like stay on course.
I'm just, naturally a dreamer and a believer. And I'm like, I think I would rather die than give up on what I've been trying to do, and there's so many things out there that, great artists tell you. They're like, this doesn't, like Lizzo always says, she's like, people see the overnight success. They don't see the 8 years that you've put in right before it all happened for you. Or,
What they say, every overnight success story is 15 years in the making?
Yes, all of that. And it just happens differently for everyone. You have to remember that, what was it? I think it was a Jelly Roll who's like 39 and he just got his big break like 2 years ago.
Same thing. Sturgill Simpson started at like 37. Yeah.
Yeah. And like there are so many artists that literally start their careers in their 30s. And I'm 26 and I'm also not from here, which is like, I wish I could say that it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. But I'm like, it does unfortunately matter because I don't even have, like family that like the family member knows someone out there or whatever, because I always meet people where I'm like even my boyfriend who doesn't have like industry connections, but his mom went to school with like a Foo Fighters producer and they just know each other. And like from some like tiny city in Tennessee, so it's like everyone who was born here has at least a few of these little, oh, like my dad's friend actually works there. You can get a job there. I was building everything from like ground zero, from complete scratch. Didn't know anybody. My parents don't know anybody here as well. Right. So, a lot of that is also playing a part,
It is. You're coming into the game with zero network,
Yes.
Even somebody with mediocre music still has 1,000 contacts by just name and face from just living here,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely. But that's good though. I mean, you do persevere. It doesn't show. It's weird because there is a theme in your music that, yeah, being a pop star is hard, but you don't present it in like a bitter way. Like it should be happening. Why not me? Like there's none of that. It's just like, yeah, it's hard. And, it's hard. And this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Relationships are hard. And, you know what I mean? It's just, and I think you package it in a digestible, humble, creative way.
Well, thank you so much.
Really. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Really interesting to see you work. I'm glad we connected. With so many ways to contact you and find you online, if there was only one way that we could support you as fans, what would be the single best way to support you?
If I had to pick one single way, I could say, oh, buy my merch, like send me money. But I genuinely just want you to listen to my music. And if you like it, share it with a friend so that they can listen to my music. That would be the greatest gift of all for me. If you can find another person who would also, be like, oh yeah, put on some Lina Cooper. Let's listen to it together. That would make me so happy. You don't even know.
Awesome. So what can we expect from you other than the album? What can we expect from you in the next 12 to 8 months? What can we expect? And this is kind of a two-parter. What would be, like, how would you define a successful, the next 2 years? What does success look like for you? To me, those two questions seem related, but they might not even be related in the way you answer them.
Oh God, what success means to me, that's a big question, because I feel like the realistic answer would be a certain number or things to happen, but in a more meaningful way, of course, it would be to just feel more satisfied with how it's going. But I also don't know if the satisfaction will ever come. But let's say, if we talk about actual things that I can define, if I get to go on I would say as an opener on someone's big tour within the next 2 years would be an incredible milestone for me.
Who's your dream gig?
Honestly, with the music that I've been releasing lately, I feel like if I could go on tour with someone like Olivia Rodrigo, and this is dreaming, I know, but
okay. At knee-jerk reaction, I was gonna say like Charlie XCX or somebody like that.
I love Charlie, I love Chapel, I love Taylor, I love any pop girl that takes me on tour with them. I'm down. Yes, I'm down. I'm down. I literally love all of them. I don't think that there's a single big artist popping off right now that I would be no, I love all of them. I listen to all of their music. So if I could go on tour as an opener, if I could break 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, I would pee my pants. That'd be great. And let's do one more of something. And if I could get to a point where I know I have the 2,000 die-hard fans, and this doesn't mean followers. This doesn't mean 2,000 more followers. This means 2,000 more die-hard fans that are I know all of Lina Cooper's songs. I know the lore. I, just follow her journey and her music, and I would love to come out to a show and scream those lyrics in person and all that stuff, those types of fans. If I had 2,000 more of these fans, I would be life is good. Life is going great.
Well, Lina, you are certainly on your way. You got one more now. You got one more in Philadelphia. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for making time. You're so transparent. You're such a joy. It comes through in the music. It's interesting. It's creative. I think you're gonna improve a lot of people's lives with your art. But I also think there's gonna be a lot of young musicians looking at you, and you're gonna be creating the blueprint like that. That's how you do that correctly. Your authenticity, your warmth, your ability to take risks, to present yourself as fearless but still humble. I'm a huge fan of not just your music, but you as a person. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me and, actually listening to my music and preparing all these awesome questions. It was such a joy answering questions that I'm like, oh my God, I've never actually been asked this. This is great. So thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, And thank you too for joining us on Loves Music. We'll see you next Thursday.